Most people are really kind of uncomfortable introducing themselves to complete strangers, even when they're at an event where that's the norm, like a trade show. How do you do that? How do you stop and engage a complete stranger? We'll have some tips coming up next. Hello, I'm David Spark, and welcome to Corporate Video Critics, media tips for communications professionals. Today we're talking about engaging with strangers, and most commonly at trade shows. I went to the E2MA conference and talked to a bunch of experts on this very subject, and they gave some pretty darn good advice on how to do just that. Want you to watch the video, and at the end, in about 2 minutes, I'm going to have a killer tip for you about how to engage with people at an event. How do you walk up to a complete stranger and initiate engagement? What's your technique?
I simply go up and introduce myself.
You know, that's always the awkward part for people, isn't it? You know, how do I engage a stranger?
Listen, 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 be interested.
And for me, what's always been successful is put yourself about and ask questions, and don't tell them anything about yourself unless they ask you.
Seek to understand rather than be understood. And so you go in with humility and you seek to understand and you just genuinely engage somebody.
I try to ask them questions, and I find that a lot more effective. People like to tell their story. I'm helping them do that.
And really engage them with the intent of learning more about them rather than with the intent of trying to sell them something. Because once you take interest in them personally, then the rest will flow naturally.
Keep in mind that the people were a little uncomfortable to meet these strangers. They have paid money and traveled a great distance to come and talk to people like us. So we have our story to tell, and they're there to investigate what their options are to see if we're a good fit. We may have to get through 15 or 20 no thank yous to find a couple of the yes please we'd like to talk to you.
The way it's easiest for me is I start asking my known sources about questions that they may be able to introduce me to somebody that I don't know, and use my own known sources to introduce me to new people. And I try to do the same for them as well.
And generally, one thing I've always learned, anywhere near the bar, there's always going to be something interesting going on. The whole vibe around the bar is a great place to find people that are laughing, happy, and maybe willing to engage. So it doesn't take long, generally, if you're wandering around the bar, to get into a conversation with somebody. And if you show interest in them rather than focusing on yourself, people always open up.
My very last piece of advice, if you want to engage with people, is to connect with people standing in line. People standing in line are two things. One, and most importantly, they're a captive audience. They're not going to run away from you. Two, they're bored. They're standing in line and they're waiting for something else to happen, like they're standing in line for a drink, they're standing in line for food, they're standing in line to go to some kind of a show. This is a very, very key place to stop and engage with people and, well, have a very positive conversation, hopefully. If you want to learn more about trade shows, we have more videos on that very subject. Plus, if you want to qualify more leads at trade shows, I suggest you pick up a copy of my book, 3 Feet from 7 Figures, One-on-One Engagement Techniques to Qualify More Leads at Trade Shows. It's available at 3feetbook.com. Also, if you like this, you felt you learned something from it, please subscribe. Click the subscribe button to Corporate Video Critics. And also, if you have a corporate video yourself and you'd like me to review it, please leave it in the comments or contact me directly. Again, thank you again for watching. If this was valuable to you, please like the video and tell your friends about it.